The silence in the boardroom wasn't just quiet, it was heavy, suffocating, like the air before a tornado touches down. I could hear the hum of the air conditioning, a low, monotonous drone that seemed to be counting down the seconds to an explosion. At the head of the mahogany table sat Mr. Blackwood, the CEO, his face a mask of stone. To his right was the client, Mrs. Vanderhoven, a woman whose approval could make a career and whose displeasure could end one. She was holding the ruined product in her manicured hands, the blue ink staining her fingers, a permanent mark of our failure. And then there was Sterling, my boss. 5 minutes ago, he had been strutting around the room like a peacock, boasting about his visionary cost-cutting measures. Now, he was pale, sweating so profusely that I could smell the sour tang of fear breaking through his expensive cologne. His eyes darted around the room, desperate for a scapegoat, until they landed on me. "It was her!" Sterling shrieked, his voice cracking, pointing a trembling finger in my direction. "Genevieve sabotaged the project. I gave her specific instructions to check the quality control, and she ignored them. This is her incompetence." Every head turned toward me. The weight of their gazes should have crushed me. A month ago, I would have cried. I would have stuttered. But today, I felt a cold, calm resolve settling in my chest. I slowly reached into my bag. The leather creaked in the silence. I pulled out a thick, black binder. It landed on the table with a heavy thud that echoed like a judge's gavel. "Actually, Sterling," I said, my voice steady, betraying none of the adrenaline coursing through my veins, "I think we should look at page 42. The email where you explicitly told me, in bold red letters, 'Do not think, just do as you are told.'" I opened the binder, and I watched the color drain from his face completely. To understand how I ended up sitting in that boardroom, holding the weapon that would destroy my boss's career, you have to understand how much I used to love my job. My name is Genevieve, and for 10 years, I was the senior creative director at Lumina Marketing. It wasn't just a job to me, it was my life's work. I had started as an intern, fetching coffee and organizing swatches, and clawed my way up to the corner office with the view of the city skyline. I knew every client's birthday, every supplier's weakness, and every font by name. The agency was like a second home. The smell of fresh espresso in the break room, the chaotic rustle of paper during brainstorming sessions, the collective sigh of relief when a campaign went live, it was a symphony I conducted with pride. My team, led by my brilliant assistant Cordelia, was loyal and talented. We were a machine. And then, our beloved director retired. We threw him a party with champagne and cake, tears streaming down our faces. He hugged me and said, "Genevieve, you're the heart of this place. Keep it beating." I thought the board would promote me. It made sense. I knew the accounts better than anyone. But the board, in their infinite wisdom, decided we needed fresh blood. They wanted someone disruptive. Enter Sterling. Sterling was a man who looked like he had been manufactured in a factory that produced arrogance. He was in his late 30s, always dressed in suits that were slightly too tight, with a smile that never reached his cold, shark-like eyes. He came from a tech background, not marketing, and he made sure to tell us that within the first 5 minutes of his introduction. "Marketing is dead," he announced at our first all-hands meeting, pacing the stage. "We are in the business of perception engineering." I exchanged a look with Cordelia. She raised an eyebrow, her lips pressed into a thin line. I felt a knot form in my stomach, a primal instinct warning me of a predator. The first month was a slow burn of irritation. Sterling didn't learn our names. He assigned us numbers in his head. He moved my desk 3 inches to the left because it disrupted the feng shui of his authority. He canceled our casual Fridays because comfort breeds complacency. But the real trouble started when he began meddling with the work. I remember the first clash vividly. It was a Tuesday afternoon, raining heavily outside, the drops lashing against the glass like angry tears. I was presenting a layout for an organic skincare brand. We had chosen earthy tones, sage greens, soft creams, textured paper to evoke nature. Sterling walked in, chewing gum loudly. He glanced at the mood board for 2 seconds. "No," he said, waving his hand dismissively. "It's too boring. Make it neon. Neon pink and electric blue." I blinked, sure I had misheard. "Sterling, this is an organic brand. Their target audience is women who value natural ingredients and calmness. Neon screams artificial and clubbing. It contradicts the brand identity." He stopped chewing. He turned his head slowly to look at me, his eyes narrowing. The room went silent. I could hear the hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen down the hall. "Genevieve," he said, his voice dripping with condescension, "you are thinking like a dinosaur. Disruption creates attention. Change it." "But the client approved the earthy tones," I argued, trying to keep my voice level. "If we change it now, we risk losing the contract. They explicitly stated no bright colors in the brief." Sterling stepped closer to me. He invaded my personal space, smelling of stale mint and aggression. "I don't care what the client thinks they want. I know what they need. Are you the creative director, or are you a photocopy machine? Do as I say." I swallowed my pride and changed the design. The client hated it. They screamed at us for an hour. Sterling sat through the meeting, nodding sympathetically, and then, when the client left, he turned to me and said, "You didn't sell it well enough, Genevieve. Your lack of passion is the problem here." I went home that night and screamed into my pillow until my throat was raw. My husband, Arthur, found me in the kitchen later, staring blankly at a glass of wine. "Quit," he said gently, rubbing my shoulders. "He's toxic, Jen. He's going to break you." "I can't," I whispered. "I have the mortgage, the kids' tuition, and I built that department. I can't let him burn it down." But Sterling was holding the matches, and he was eager to light the fire. The breaking point came 3 months later with the Aurora project. Mrs. Vanderhoven owned a luxury jewelry empire. She was old money, serious, intimidating, and obsessed with quality. We were tasked with launching her new diamond collection. The centerpiece of the campaign was a physical invitation sent to her top 500 VIP clients. These invitations were to be boxes containing a small screen that played a video, nestled in velvet. I had spent weeks sourcing the velvet. I had found a supplier in Italy who produced a deep midnight blue fabric that felt like a cloud. It was expensive, yes, but it was perfect. The boxes were to be hand-assembled. I brought the prototype to Sterling's office. He was on his phone, scrolling through social media, his feet up on the desk. "The prototype, Sterling," I said, placing the exquisite box on his desk. He glanced at it. Then he looked at the budget sheet attached. His eyes bulged. $15 per unit for the velvet? He scoffed. "Are you insane? We're bleeding money here." "It's within the budget Mrs. Vanderhoven approved," I reminded him. "She wants luxury. This is luxury." "It's waste," Sterling snapped. He swung his legs down and stood up. "I have a friend. He runs a manufacturing plant overseas. He can do this for $2 a unit." My blood ran cold. "Sterling, you can't be serious. $2? That means synthetic felt, not velvet. It means cheap glue. These are going to billionaires. They will know the difference." "You obsess over details that nobody cares about," he sneered. I'm approving the switch to my vendor. Cancel the Italian order." "I strongly advise against this," I said, my voice rising. "The chemical smell of cheap glue alone will ruin the unboxing experience. The dye in cheap synthetic fabric often isn't set properly. It can stain. If a VIP client gets blue dye on a Chanel suit, we are dead." Sterling slammed his hand on the desk. The sound made me jump. "Enough," he roared. "I am sick of your negativity, Genevieve. You are an obstructionist." "You think you know everything because you've been here for a decade? You know nothing about business." He sat down and began typing furiously on his keyboard. A moment later, my phone pinged. "Read it," he commanded. I opened my email. From Sterling to Genevieve. Subject: Direct Order, Aurora Project. Genevieve: effective immediately, you are to cease all decision-making regarding the materials for the Aurora Project. You will use the vendor I have provided, attached. You are not to question this decision. You are not to contact the client about it. I don't pay you to think. I pay you to execute. If you offer one more suggestion or try to undermine my authority again, I will consider it insubordination, and you will be terminated for cause. Just do exactly as you are told, nothing more, nothing less. Sterling. I stared at the screen. The words swam before my eyes. I don't pay you to think. Something inside me snapped. It wasn't a loud snap like a bone breaking. It was a quiet, metallic click, like a switch being flipped in the dark. For years, I had saved this company from itself. I had fixed errors, smoothed over insults, stayed late to correct typos that weren't mine. I had been the safety net. Sterling had just ordered me to cut the net. I looked up at him. He was smirking, thinking he had won, thinking he had cowed me into submission. "Understood," I said softly. "What was that?" he challenged. I said, "Understood, Sterling," I repeated, forcing a polite, empty smile onto my face. "I will follow your instructions to the letter. I won't think. I will just do." He leaned back, satisfied. "Good, finally. Send the order to my guy." I walked out of his office. I walked straight to my desk. Cordelia looked up, worried. "Jen, you look scary. What happened?" "He wants us to use the cheap vendor," I said calmly, "and he put it in writing. He threatened to fire me if I try to fix it." "But," Cordelia's eyes widened, "that's going to be a disaster. The heat and humidity in the shipping containers, the glue will melt, the dye will run." "I know," I said. I sat down and unlocked my computer. "But I have been ordered not to think about that." "So, what are we going to do?" she whispered. I looked at her, and for the first time in months, I felt powerful. "We are going to practice something called malicious compliance, Cordelia. We are going to do exactly what he asked, not a millimeter more, not a millimeter less." The next 6 weeks were a blur of surreal horror. I initiated the order with Sterling's friend. The vendor sent back a proof. It looked terrible. The blue was the wrong shade, more of a bruised purple than midnight blue. The texture looked rough in the photos. Normally, I would have flagged this. I would have called, demanded new samples, flown there myself if I had to. Instead, I forwarded the proof to Sterling with a simple note. "Per your instructions, here is the proof from your vendor. Please approve for mass production." He replied in 2 minutes. "Looks great. Proceed. See? Easy." I printed the email, I punched 3 holes in it, I placed it in a fresh black binder labeled Aurora. 2 weeks later, the vendor emailed about the glue. "Standard glue is out of stock. Can use industrial adhesive substitute. Strong smell but cheaper." I didn't reply to the vendor. I forwarded it to Sterling. Vendor is asking about glue substitution, awaiting your instruction. Sterling, likely skimming and not reading the part about the smell, replied, "Whatever gets it here faster, approve it." I printed the email. Into the binder it went. Cordelia watched me with a mix of awe and terror. "Jen, the samples arrived today," she told me one morning, holding a box with 2 fingers as if it were radioactive. "Open it." I opened the box. A pungent chemical stench hit me instantly, like burning plastic and rotten eggs. The velvet felt like sandpaper. And when I rubbed my thumb against the fabric, a smudge of dark blue ink transferred to my skin. It didn't wash off easily. "Oh my God," Cordelia gagged. "We can't send these." "I am forbidden from making quality control decisions," I said, my voice robotic. "Did Sterling see a sample?" "He told the mailroom to just put them in storage for the assemblers. He said he didn't want to be bothered with minutia." "Then we send them," I said. "Jen, Mrs. Vanderhoven is going to kill us." "She won't kill us," I said, patting the black binder, which was now significantly thicker. "She's going to kill him." The week of the launch arrived. The invitations were sent out. I didn't sleep for 3 days, not because I was working, but because the anticipation was physically painful. I felt like I was watching a car crash in slow motion, knowing the passengers were doomed, but unable to shout a warning because the driver had taped my mouth shut. The first complaint came on a Wednesday. Mrs. Vanderhoven's personal assistant called the general line. I let it go to voicemail. Then an email came from the client herself. Subject, "What is this?" I didn't open it. I forwarded it to Sterling. Sterling was out of the office playing golf with a potential investor. He didn't reply. By Friday, the day of the board meeting, the storm had made landfall. I walked into the office early. The atmosphere was different. People were whispering. The receptionist looked pale. "Mr. Blackwood is here," Cordelia hissed as I walked past her desk. "And Mrs. Vanderhoven. They are in the boardroom. They are screaming." "Where is Sterling?" I asked. "He just ran in. He looks like he's seen a ghost." "Good," I said. I picked up my black binder. It weighed about 3 pounds now. "Wish me luck." "Give him hell," Cordelia whispered. I walked into the boardroom. That brings us back to where we started. The air was toxic. The ruined box on the table looked even worse under the harsh fluorescent lights. The heat of the room had caused the cheap glue to soften, making the box sticky. Mrs. Vanderhoven's hands were stained blue. "It was her!" Sterling was still shouting, his finger pointing at me. "She managed the vendor. She handled the logistics." Mr. Blackwood turned to me. His eyes were cold, disappointed. "Genevieve, I expected better from you. You've been here 10 years. How could you let this happen? This is a disaster. We might lose the account. We might get sued." "I want her fired." Mrs. Vanderhoven slammed her blue-stained hand on the table. "And I want my money back." Sterling nodded vigorously. "Yes, fired, immediately. She is incompetent." I stood at the end of the table. I didn't sit down. "Mr. Blackwood," I began, my voice clear. "Mrs. Vanderhoven, I agree. This is a disaster. It is an embarrassment to the standards of Lumina marketing, a standard I upheld for a decade." "Then why?" Mrs. Hoven demanded. "Why did you send me garbage that smells like a chemical factory?" "Because," I said, looking directly at Sterling, "I was ordered to." "Liar!" Sterling shouted. "I told you to ensure quality." "May I?" I asked Mr. Blackwood, gesturing to the binder. He nodded slowly. "Go ahead." I opened the binder. "Exhibit A," I announced, March 12th, the initial budget review. I proposed the Italian velvet supplier we have used for years. Sterling rejected it. I slid the paper down the table. Mr. Blackwood picked it up. Exhibit B, I continued, feeling a rhythm now. The email from Sterling dated March 14th. Quote, I have a friend. He can do this for $2. I replied, warning about the quality risks of synthetic fabric. I slid the next email. Mrs. van der Hoeven snatched it. Her eyes scanned the text, her lips tightening. Exhibit C, I said, my voice getting harder. My objection regarding the glue. I specifically mentioned the smell. Sterling's reply, you obsess over details nobody cares about. Sterling was shaking his head. That's taken out of context. We were under budget pressure. And finally, I said, reaching the climax of my performance, the smoking gun, page 42. I held up the sheet of paper before sliding it down. On April 2nd, after I tried to halt production because of the sample quality, Sterling sent me this. I recited it from memory, locking eyes with Sterling. I don't pay you to think, I pay you to execute. If you offer one more suggestion or try to undermine my authority, you will be terminated. Just do exactly as you are told. Silence. Absolute, crushing silence. Mr. Blackwood read the email. He read it twice. Then he looked at Sterling. The look wasn't just anger, it was disgust. It was the look you give a dog that has soiled the carpet. You put this in writing? Blackwood asked, his voice dangerously quiet. You told your senior creative director not to think? She was being difficult, Sterling stammered, sweat dripping down his nose. She was resisting change. I was trying to streamline. You streamlined us into a lawsuit, you idiot, Mrs. van der Hoeven yelled. She turned to Mr. Blackwood. If he is still employed by this company in 5 minutes, I am taking every cent I have to your competitor, and I will tell everyone in the city that Luminous supports incompetence. Mr. Blackwood stood up. He buttoned his jacket. Sterling, he said, get out. But get out, Blackwood roared. Leave your pass, leave your laptop. Security will escort you. Sterling looked around the room. He looked at me, hoping for what? Mercy? There was none. I just stared back at him, my face impassive. He slumped. The arrogance evaporated, leaving just a small, pathetic man in a cheap suit. He shuffled out of the room, the door clicking shut behind him. The silence returned, but this time, the tension was gone. Mrs. van der Hoeven took a deep breath. She looked at her blue hands, then at me. Genevieve, she said, I apologize for raising my voice at you. No apology necessary, ma'am, I replied. You have every right to be upset. Can this be fixed? She asked. The gala is in 2 weeks. I smiled, a real smile this time. I took the liberty, I said, reaching into the very back of my binder, of keeping the reservation with the Italian supplier on hold. I paid a small deposit from my own pocket to keep the production slot open, just in case. If we approve the budget today, they can air freight the correct boxes by next Friday. We can have a team, my team, assemble them over the weekend. They will be in the mail by Monday morning. Perfect, scentless, and they won't stain your hands. Mrs. van der Hoeven looked at Mr. Blackwood. Give her a raise, she said, and pay her back for the deposit. Mr. Blackwood looked at me with newfound respect. Consider it done. And Genevieve? Yes, sir? The creative director position is yours, officially. No more fresh blood. We need your brain. I walked out of that boardroom feeling 10 feet tall. Sterling was escorted out of the building. I watched from the window as he stood on the sidewalk, holding a box of his belongings, looking lost in the rain. I didn't feel pity. I felt justice. I learned a valuable lesson that day. Sometimes fighting back doesn't mean screaming or arguing. Sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do to an incompetent boss is exactly what they ask for. I gave him the rope, and he tied the knot himself. I'm still the creative director at Lumina. We won the award for the Aurora campaign, the second version, the one with the Italian velvet. It was flawless. But I keep that black binder on my shelf. It's a reminder. Never let anyone tell you that your experience doesn't matter. And never, ever let anyone tell you not to think. What would you have done? Would you have saved the company and risked your job? Or would you have let the ship sink to prove a point like I did? It was a gamble, but for me, it was the only way to survive. If you enjoyed this story of sweet revenge, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss the next confession. And tell me in the comments, have you ever used malicious compliance against us? I read every comment. Until next time, stay smart and trust your gut.